but didn't, and now I saw, geez. Oh, and I definitely could have gone more hog wild, but must remove sticker from book cover without causing damage. Not going well. Hey everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. Today's video is going to be my Book Outlet Black Friday sale haul video. Last year was the first time I shopped this sale, and last year I went berserk. Like, I don't even know how many books I got last year. Easily 25 books. Like, I was a crazy person. I think I shopped the sale 3 times last year. So this year I had a little bit more self-control. I've certainly been buying a lot of books lately, but I tried to sort of like maximize the situation. There were more books that I wanted. I put stuff in my cart to kind of mull on. A couple things I wanted sold out before I got to them, so that happened. But all in, I'm excited about what I got, and as always, I feel like a little bit of it is random, but some of it wasn't. So here we go. The first book I picked up is Sherry LaPena's A Stranger in the House. And this is the only Sherry LaPena book that I don't have. And if you saw my November wrap up, then you know I just read a month ago, Someone We Know, in November. And I loved it. So I have read Couple Next Door, which was her first book, and I read that when it came out, and now I've read her latest book. I have An Unwanted Guest on my shelf here, which I'm going to read this winter because it's atmospheric and wintry. Although I just watched somebody's video and they totally didn't like it, but whatever, it's not going to change my mind. So I picked up her last book because why not? So I would like to tell you I looked to see what it's about, but I didn't. I just bought it. So it says in the inside flap, a present you can't remember, a past that won't let you go. You're home making dinner for your husband. You expect him any second. The phone rings. It's the call you hoped you'd never get. You jump in your car and race to a neighborhood you thought you'd never visit. You peer into the dark, deserted building and brace yourself for the worst. After that, you remember nothing. So I am guessing domestic suspense, thrillery kind of stuff, which is definitely her style. But I am a fan. I've talked about her here before, and I wanted to complete my collection, and now I have. The second book I picked up, and I will say I got this because I needed to get to the $35 mark, and I was gonna buy this last time and then I didn't, and I bought it this time. And it's book 3 in a series that I haven't started yet. It's A Case for Jamie by Brittany Cavallaro. And this is I'm using some of the other books to prop my camera up because I'm too lazy to get my tripod out. But this is the Study in Charlotte series. So it's Charlotte Holmes and Jamie Watson. And this is obviously like a modern day twist on it all. Third book in the series, so I got it. It was only a couple of bucks, and I am optimistic that I'm going to love the series, even though I haven't started it yet, which maybe is crazy, but whatever, it's me. I will tell you that I am in the middle of listening to the original Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, A Study in Scarlet, which is the first Holmes book. So I am literally at like the 51% mark. Enjoying it, I guess I would say. I feel like part of it is more of, I'm a huge mystery thriller person, as you know, reader and writer, so I should read the classics, I guess. I don't know how far I'm gonna go in the series, but I wanted to definitely read Study in Scarlet before I read Study in Charlotte. So that's gonna happen. Hopefully I'm gonna love it enough to get to book 3. The next book I picked up is one that I had heard a lot about last year? Doesn't matter. And I was really curious about, but never ever picked it up, and they had it in hardcover, so now I've picked it up, and it's The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. And I have picked up a couple Kara Thomas books. I have The Darkest Corners. I haven't read it yet. So this is YA, I think sort of hard-hitting contemporary, I would say. I don't know if it counts as mystery thriller, or if it's more, I don't know. I don't know what it is. On the back, which it is plugged by Riley Sager, and he literally wrote a little bit Riverdale and a little bit Veronica Mars. I don't need to read anything else. The Cheerleaders is a twisty page turner that will have you doubting every character you meet and everything you think you know. Beautiful, talented, popular, dead. There are no more cheerleaders in the town of Sunnybrook. So I love me Riverdale, season 1, part of season 2, sort of season 3, not so much season 4. And I love Veronica Mars all 4 seasons, and the movie, despite what happened in season 4. Still not over it, still love it. So I'm really curious about this. So it's high school, there's stuff. There's a car accident, there's some bad stuff with the cheerleaders. Yeah, so I don't even know, but I'm really curious about it. But I remember hearing a lot of people on BookTube talk about this, and my interest was piqued, but I could never get it from, I was on waitlist at the library, and they didn't have it in my library, I was on waitlist online, but anyway, whatever. I bought it, here it is. So when I read it, I'll let you know if I think it's Riverdale meets Veronica Mars, but either way, I finally have a chance to read it, and Riley Sager, so I mean, ba-boom. The next book I picked up, I also talked about in my November wrap-up, and that is the nonfiction book, Nothing Good Can Come of This by Christy Coulter. And this is a memoir. It's a series of short essays that she wrote about sort of life after when she quit drinking and sort of all she realized after the fact. And it's very interesting. I have talked about this ad nauseum at this stage if you've watched my other videos, but if you haven't, in a nutshell, basically she stops drinking, realizes that she has a problem with her drinking, and she was reflecting back kind of on her entire life relationship with alcohol from since she was a teenager, and then also kind of, it says on the back, when her rosé colored glasses come off, she's realizing not only how prevalent alcohol is and everything that kind of goes on in the world, but how much of a factor it is in so many people's lives. And it's not necessarily about people who have a drinking problem or people who are alcoholics, but just even social drinking, work, any kind of socializing you do at the gym, at the farmer's market, at yoga, how so many things revolve around alcohol being a component of it. So it's just sort of a very interesting commentary on our society, I guess I would say. There's also some other commentary kind of in the world, or about the world sort of as it is, political, which might not be for everybody. I enjoyed it. I listened to the audiobook of this, and she narrates it, which I loved, and I immediately wanted to pick it up because it's definitely a book I'm going to want to read again. Definitely a book I wanted to mark up. There's a lot of good lines and quotes in it, but I found it relatable. I didn't find it to be soapboxy or preachy in any kind of way. And again, I really thought her commentary was very interesting and kind of makes me think about stuff. And I think it's one of these things where alcohol's just there, it's sort of everywhere we turn, and sort of taking a step back and thinking about how it's played such an influence in her life. And then there's some somewhat frightening stories about things she maybe said or did while she was drinking that she wouldn't have done had she not been drinking, and some dangerous situations she found herself in or put herself into because her judgment was impaired. So a little bit cautionary tale in some ways, but again, not preachy in any way. So I found her just sort of be relatable, down to earth, very good, interesting story, and it's short too. So I would say, read the book or grab it on Hoopla because it was really good. The next book I picked up is a little bit of a random one, and I came across it very randomly on Book Outlet also, and it's called The Clasp by Sloane Crosley. And I don't even remember where I heard about this book originally, but this has been in my Amazon wishlist for a long time. And it's one of those books that I put in my cart but don't pull the trigger on, and I haven't been able to find it through my library or anything, and then it goes back in the cart every once in a while because I'm like, wait, what's this book? Why is it here? And during my hardcore don't want to miss a deal searching on Book Outlet, I came across it. So finally I bought it. And she is, I want to say she wrote some nonfiction, a book called I Was Told There'd Be Cake and How Did You Get This Number? She's contributed to the Times. This is a fiction book. So it is, I'm trying not to read the entire back of it to you, but I think I'm just going to read it. So it's basically about 3 friends who are reuniting for a wedding of one of their college friends. And now they're in their late 20s. So it says, they arrive absorbed, but soon slip back into the old roles. Victor loves Kezia. Kezia loves Nathaniel. Nathaniel loves Nathaniel. During the reception, an inebriated Victor passes out in the mother of the groom's bedroom. He's woken with a jovial slap in the face as she dangles a story about a missing necklace before him, one that she has never even told her son. Her tale sets in motion a madcap adventure that leads Victor, Kezia, and Nathaniel from Miami to New York and LA, and ultimately across France, to an estate of an author of the classic short story, The Necklace. Heartfelt, suspenseful, and told with Sloane Crosley's inimitable spark and wit. The Clasp is a story of friends struggling to fit together now that their lives haven't gone as planned, and learning to separate the real from the fake. So I think it's, like I said, it's a little bit funny, a little bit like suspense. The book I am writing is about a group of friends. It's not so much comic as it is thriller, but I think the idea of people who've known each other since college and, you know, find themselves sort of back together again. So I'm a little bit curious about sort of the relationships and how it all plays out. But it sounded fun to me. I think I must have read something about Sloane herself, and maybe that's how it happened. But either way, yeah, I got it. So, Clasp. Okay, second to last book I got is The Night Before by Wendy Walker. And I did a online writing class with Wendy Walker through She Writes University, which I'm pretty sure I talked about here. I did the Taylor Jenkins Reid one, which I talked about also. And Wendy's was about, it's interesting, like I want to say like the title of it was sort of like how to write a thriller for Hollywood, but the core of the class really wound up being about how to write a really good thriller. So obviously that's interesting to me. And I have talked about this before. I was not a fan of, geez, what was the name of her first book? All Is Not Forgotten. I was not a fan of that book. So that is the first book by her that I read. I feel like that's the first thriller. She may have written other stuff before that. But that was about sort of this controversial, that's super annoying. Hold on. Sorry about that. So anyway, All Is Not Forgotten is a book that I was not a fan of. And that was about this controversial drug that basically makes people forget things. And it opens with this high school girl who was raped and very, very brutally beat up at a party. And she's in the hospital and her parents give the doctors permission to give her this drug. So she forgets the memory of what happened to her that night, even though obviously physically she has all the reminders of it and she knows what happens, but the memory of it has been wiped away from her. In theory, that's supposed to help her. And what that means is it's very hard to find out who did it to her because they have wiped her memory clean, and she, again, is still very much aware of what happened to her. And it's her and the shrink and the parents and a whole bunch of other stuff, and I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. The concept of it initially sounded interesting to me, but I just didn't like any of the turns that it took. So anyway, I still heard good things about Wendy Walker. So it wasn't the right story for me, but it wasn't that she wasn't the right writer for me. So I have picked up Emma in the Night, haven't read it. I've heard really good things about that. And then I've heard some good things about this book too. This came out this year, I want to say. I mean, Book Outlet, kind of killing it with the new releases in hardcover, right? This is May 2019. Dang. So I've heard some good things about this. And I want to say this girl goes on like a blind date and maybe doesn't come back. Yes, she doesn't return home the following morning, not responding to calls or text. She's left no information about the man she went to meet. So I don't know if it's her sister that's looking for her or like her best friend who's looking for her. Sister, sorry, I'm reading, I should have prepared for this, but of course I didn't. So her sister's trying to find her. She's worried about what the man might have done to her. She's worried about what Laura may have done to him. So I guess her sister doesn't have the best reputation either. But I fell a little bit in love with Wendy Walker after doing her class, and again, heard great things about this book and kind of couldn't pass up a hardcover of a new release for a bargain basement price. So I picked this one up, obviously. The last book I picked up is one that I saw on Literary Diversion, Leanne's channel, a long time ago. I want to say it was even like one of her favorite books at some stage, or sort of in one of her top recommended lists. And it is The Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed, excuse me. And this is, I think, probably going to be disturbing yet powerful. commentary on rape culture, and it is about girls in high school. And on the back it has sort of this email message, and it's from the Nowhere Girls, and it says, "Dear friends and classmates, are you tired? Are you scared? Are you tired of being scared? Are you angry? We know what they did. Spencer Klimt, Eric Jordan, and Ennis Calhoun. We know they raped Lucy. We know they have hurt others, probably many of us. We know they will hurt more. Are you ready to do something? Are you ready to take matters into your own hands? Join us. Together we are stronger than they are. We will not be silent any longer. Love, the Nowhere Girls." So it says, a deeply empowering story of hope and courage. So I think this is going to definitely be heavy, but I think it's going to be an important book. It sounds a little female of the species from a heaviness level, I would say. I don't know that story-wise anything in it is the same, but that was a book that I read earlier this year on the very strong recommendation of Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads, and another book that I found very powerful, very important, very hard to read at times, but extremely well written. It's Mindy McGinnis wrote that book. So I have very kind of similar feels about this, and I wanted to pick it up and I wanted to read it. It's also a beautiful cover, which there's that. So I am very interested. So I got it. I had not seen it on there previously. This came out in 2017. So there you have it. And then the opening kind of quote in it from Alice Sebold from Lucky is, "You save yourself or you remain unsaved." So there you go. So all in all, I'm very pleased with my little pile of books that I got, and a little bit sort of diversity amongst the books. I don't know, not really, maybe not. Yeah, there totally is. But anyway, let me know if you shopped the Black Friday haul at Book Outlet. Let me know what you got. Let me know if you have read any of these books. Like I said, other than nothing good can come from this, these are all new to me. Some new to me authors, actually most new to me authors, because even though I have other Kara Thomas books, I haven't read any of them yet. Goals are gonna be big for 2020. Just wait for it. So anyway, there you have it. That is it for today. So thanks for watching and hanging out and listening to me talk about books, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.